I'm Sinkas, part of LDB. I've spoken to a lot of you already. If not, feel free to catch me later. So I'm here to present a very quick presentation of a DAO-elected entity called the Arbitrum Research and Development Collective, or ARDC. And it's very relevant if you're working on any sort of proposal. So if you are thinking of coming to the DAO with a proposal, it's like, pay attention. So what is the ARDC? In short, it's basically an entity that is supposed to conduct research on behalf of the DAO. Now, what that means is basically we have Arbitrum DAO, and we have 3 members: research, security, and risk member. And those 3 members are there to conduct work on behalf of the DAO, and especially kind of like help proposers push their proposal to the DAO. Now, in what sense do they do that? Basically, the problem that exists is that in order for delegates to make decisions, for the DAO to operate and make decisions, is that they need to have access to certain information. So I might have a proposal, whatever that may be, and there might be questions or concerns regarding accompanying data, or data to support the challenge statement that the proposal is making. There might be concerns about the implementation of the proposal from a security perspective, like if we're making changes to the smart contract, who is responsible for overseeing that those changes are implemented in a secure way? And what are the other risks associated with a proposal? So it might be economic risks presented to the protocol. However, if we ask the proposal authors to spend time on those things, firstly, they might be outside their scope. They might not have the relevant skill set to do the research, the analysis, security audits, whatever. And if they just turn to a service provider and out in the market to do that for them, it gets really expensive really fast. And if the DAO subsidizes that cost, they ask for that money in the proposal, then we're just paying for different things that, firstly, we might not end up doing the proposal in the first place. So we do the data, like the research, we do the audits, and then we say, okay, that's bad. So we're just wasting about a bunch of money on getting some data that eventually we don't need theoretically. So how can we mitigate that? We can have that research and security analysis and risk assessment be done in-house in the DAO. But as you know, like the DAO is not a company, it's like a collective of people and entities making decisions together. So the way we approach this is we elected 3 service providers, or 4 actually, to act as that in-house kind of like consultancy on those things. The members after DAO elections, so we had service providers apply to the DAO, and the members we have elected is Blockworks Research and Delphi Digital for research, OpenZeppelin for security, and Chaos Labs for risk assessment. Now, how do they operate in terms of how can a proposal go to those people and ask for help, right, for research or for security assessment, whatever? And how can the DAO decide on what we actually work for? Because if suddenly, let's say right here in this room, we did, 20-something proposals. If all of them go to the DAO directly and ask the service providers to help them, they're flooded, right? They don't know what to take. They don't know what is high signal thing that they need to work on versus what is just something that it might not be very top of mind for the DAO right now. So to do that, we have the DAO advocate, which is L2Beat and Ant Federation. And basically, the job of the DAO advocate is to decide what eventually the ARDC is going to work for. We are there as like high context participants to offer that sort of insights. Like, yes, this is something that we're going to work for. No, this is not something that we have capacity for right now. It's more so of like a job of prioritizing versus deciding what we accept versus what we reject. It's, the members have limited capacity, so we just have to figure it out how to direct their efforts, right? Theoretically, every request is accepted, but some of them just be at the bottom of the list and we never get round to them because new requests come in and we prioritize again. So this is kind of like the job of the DAO advocate. Now, a very quick example is like, as I mentioned, like someone creates a proposal, let's call him Bob. He comes to the DAO and says, here's my proposal, I want to do this. Doesn't matter what that is. Don't want to get into details too much. And delegates started asking questions like, all right, what are the implications of doing that? Why are we doing it in the first place? Is there like a need for that? Is it going to make any profit or help us grow in any way? What kind of like is the outcome of that? So we can't make a decision, right? We ask this person, like this proposal, it's called Bob, these questions, and they don't know the answer. Now, Bob has to either, as I said earlier, go outside and try to get them, either just doing them themselves, which is questionable in terms of, the delegates are then going to say, all right, how did you get it? Like, why are you the expert to collect that data? Or he can go outside and either pay out of his pocket, or then come to the DAO and say, okay, I know who can get us that data, but it's going to cost, this amount, and I'm proposing to the DAO that we get this amount to do the research, and then I can do my proposal. So it adds like friction and pain points and cost to the DAO. And delegates can make a decision without those things being addressed, so we come at a stalemate. So that is kind of like where the ARDC comes in. Both delegates and proposal authors can turn to the ARDC, like literally anyone that is somehow involved in the DAO in whatever capacity can come to the DAO and say, hey, it would be interesting for the ARDC to look into this thing. Now, that can literally be like any of you in this room. There's no minimum requirement to request work from the ARDC. It's up to the DAO advocate, like L2Beta and non-federation, to decide whether that is like a valid thing, an interesting thing, something that adds value or not. So even if you're not a delegate, you don't have any sort of connections in the DAO, whatever, you can come in and ask for something, because it might be something very interesting that we just don't have top of mind. And this is like a QR code for the communication thread in the forum. Basically, provide monthly updates for the ARDC of what we're doing on. It's a 6-month term. We started 1st of April, so theoretically at October, the ARDC is going to end. We provide monthly updates. You can find information there, and you can also find the contact information there as well. That's my time. Thank you. I don't want to keep it. And you can find me for more info.